Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to create a gauge visual inside of Power BI. What it does, it helps you to track the progress you have made over a particular target. Say for instance, so you have a target of 200 million and you are currently at let's say 150, 160. So you want to see how far you have gone towards your target, right? So you want to see, okay, what is the percentage? It's a circular shape visual that shows the progress you have made over time. It looks like your speedometer inside your car. Okay, you're at 60 kilometer per hour, 80 kilometer per hour, etc. Right. So before I continue, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please do so, like, share, so that I can create more meaningful content like this. So let's get to chat gpt to let us understand fully what gate visual is. So I'm going to say, okay, what is gate visual in Power BI? So, because this is going to give you even more information, more in-depth knowledge about what grid visual is all about. So, I'm going to let's hear from ChatGPT what it has to say. So, if you are into data analysis, learning how to use Power BI, you also want to incorporate ChatGPT into your learning, right? So you can see a gate visual is a Power BI chart used to show progress toward a target, right? So this is exactly what it does. Think of it like a car speedometer. It displays the main value and show how close a value is to a goal, right? So typically you have like the current value, the main number you're tracking, like says total number of download, the target value, the goal you want to reach, like a sales target, the minimum and maximum range, and the indicator which show where you currently stand, right? So this other information is for you to really understand what it's all about. It's an ideal one, is the one that show you a quick snapshot of your performance. You're tracking the key metric like the sales performance or head count that you're trying to achieve for a period of 1 year or for whatever period that you're looking at, right? So these are other further information, right? So like for instance, now you imagine your monthly target is like $100,000 and you have achieved $72,000. So the minimum you can set to zero and all of that. So this exactly what gate visual does for you. So without wasting much of our time, let's head to Power BI. So I'm going to open my Power BI now. I'm sure you already have your Power BI open. You know how to download Power BI. If you don't know how to do that, I have a video that talks about introduction to Power BI from beginner to intermediate level. So before you do anything in Power BI, you must bring in the data set. So without data, there's nothing that can be done. So bring in data inside of Power BI or to ingest data. So just click on the Excel workbook if your data is in Excel workbook. However, if it's not, you can go to get data. So these are the common data source that you can get your data from. However, my data is in Excel. As a matter of fact, this is like a snippet of how my data looks like, right? It's just like it's a comprehensive data set, for our order management company. So you can see we have your row ID, order dates, sheet dates, and so on and so forth. So this is the data I'm bringing in into my Power BI, right? So this is the folder. So I'm going to select order data. So just locate where your data is. So this is the other data. So I'm loading my data inside of Power BI. Simple and easy. So by clicking on the table, it just give you a preview of what is inside of your data. So as you can see, this is like a snippet of what I have inside of my data. So don't forget to click on the box behind it. So when you literally do that, you click on, so you have your load, transform, and cancel. So I'm going to load the data. Transform is if you want to clean or transform the data. So I'm going to click on load. Right, so my data has been successfully loaded inside of Power BI, as you can see on my right hand side here. Right, so now I might not be using this particular data set. I can probably create a measure because this data set do not have like a target or a budget. So let's say you want to achieve like 150 million naira for this year, and maybe we're at 110 or 120 or whereabout. So don't forget that if you want to do a gate visual, two things are very important. right? The target value and the actual value. The optional ones are the maybe the minimum and the maximum, right? So I'm going to create a measure to get my target value because there is no target value here. There's no or budget, so to speak. So I'm going to create I'm going to create a measure. So just to create a measure is very simple. Just click on the three ellipses here, then select on new measure. However, if you have a budget inside of your table or in a separate column in your table, that's fine. But because I do not have like a budget, that's why I'm creating a measure. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna say budget, right? Because that's our target. So I'm gonna put one, let's say 150,000. I'm gonna reduce the numbers. So that is like, our budget for the year, right? So I'm going to click on enter. So I've successfully created my budget as a measure. You can see it. This is my budget here, right? So now I now have like, let's say we're now at 110 as at November, right? So I can also create a measure for that. So unfortunately, if you have your sales number, you know, like total amount of sales, you can easily select it, from inside of your data as a column. But I'm not going to use any of these. So I'm going to create another measure as my sales number, right? So I'm going to say total sales, for instance. Then I'll just say okay 110. So we have done 110, year to date, right? So I'm going to hit enter. So you have seen I have my budget, then I also have my total sales, created successfully as a measure. So the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to select, my gauge visual. Right, so I'm going to click on this. You find it under the visualization pane. So I'm going to select gauge. So immediately you do that, you see, something like this. You can see it's like a speedometer, inside of your car that, tell you, the speed at which you are moving at. So you can see under the words here, you have the value, you have the minimum, you have the maximum, and you have a target value. So like I mentioned earlier, so two things are important here, like the value, which is what you are at the moment, and your target value, which is where you are going, or your budget. So I'm going to drag my budget inside of the target value. So it's going to show you blank because it doesn't know what to do with just that one value. Then I'm going to drag my total sale inside my value. So you can see now, it gives us something like this. So these are just the major requirements for your visuals to come to life, for your gate visual to come live. So if you can see now, let me put it in focus mode. So this is showing us our budget, which is our target, and this is showing us our total sales, what we have. So you can see that a Power BI automatically creates two information for us. This is the minimum value and the maximum value. If you look closely, the maximum value is actually multiplied by your value where you currently are. So 110 multiplied by 2 gives you 220, right? So that is if you do not specify, the maximum value. However, you can actually say that, okay, I don't need the maximum value. I actually want my budget to be my maximum value, right? So what you just need to do is just drag your budget inside of the maximum value. So you can see now you have like 150K, then you have where you are. So this is where you currently are, and this is where you are going. So again, if you don't have to do that if you have like a maximum target that you are looking at. If you can do like 170, fine, like surpassing our budgets, and at least the minimum, we can't do go anything less than, let's say, 50K or 20K. So you can also create a minimum and maximum value. So just do exactly what we did in creating the other measure. So new measure. So I'm going to say max, just say max equals to, so I'm going to say 170. Yeah, I'm going to hit enter. Then I'm going to do my main also, new measure, then main minimum value. So let me just say min, right? So I'm going to say 20. So I'm going to hit enter. So you can see that once I select this now, like I said earlier, so you have total, min, max, and target. So I'm going to remove the budget from the max because we now have a max and a min now, right? So the max, where is our max? So max, I'm going to drag it on the maximum value. So you can see that it changes. So we now have maximum 170 and the target or budget 150. So we're currently at 120K. Right. Then I'm also going to drag the main inside of the minimum value bucket. So I'm going to do something like this. So you can see most likely that's not going to change much. So you can see this is 20K, which is the minimum, and 170K, which is the maximum. This is our current sales, and this is like our target where we are going. But then, hey, who says we cannot surpass 150K? We can go to 170K, right? So this is how you do your minimum and maximum in doing your gauge visual. So this is a perfect example of a gauge visual. So as the number increases, so as your sales number increases, so does your gauge increase. So let's say for instance now, maybe by next week, our sales number is now, our total sale is now like 130. So it also updates with the gauge, right? So you can see it moves. So as your sales increases, so it move the bar towards the target, right? So you just keep moving and moving, and if for whatever reason your sales decline, it also reduces further to your left, right? So that is how to create, a great visual. You can see that it shows our progress, towards a particular target. So you can also further format, this your gate visual by selecting, the gate visual and coming to like format of visual. So you can change the color if you want. I mean, you can change this to maybe something like this. That is for the fill color, and the target color you can change it to something. I don't know. I'm not very good with color. You can see this is your target color. So you can actually be creative with this. So the data label you can put it off if you want. I mean, these are the minimum and maximum, but it's okay if you leave it like that. Also the target label also, you understand. But I mean, these are very good information. So colored value is if you want to put, these are some, basic formatting that you can use, the color, the font, and all of that, right? So you can actually do any kind of thing that you want to do, inside of this formatting of visual. But these are like the major things that you need to know as far as gauge access is concerned, right? So I hope you have enjoyed this video. I hope you have enjoyed this class. So if you want me to create more meaningful content on Power BI like this, do not forget to subscribe, like, and share. Till we meet next time. Bye.